Okay, welcome back, everybody, to Prestigious Fingers' Bridezilla, The End, aka What the F Just Happened, Part 2. I won't stay too long on the intro here, because we got a lot to get through, so let's get right into it. The next morning, we all get up, have some breakfast, and Megan and Felicity acted like everything was hunky-dory again. I left Jason with Megan, as he wanted to have a talk with her about the night before, while I went with my partner to practice the show fights. Yes, it did happen. My partner was awesome, and I actually did have a lot of fun with that. The only hiccup was when the very last run-through, before we're going to call it, and my sword broke. Broke right at the hilt, and the blade went flying up in the air and landed right in front of my... Jeez, you're lucky you didn't get hurt. Holy shit. Now, I mentioned most of us are some flavor of pagan or some other spiritual practice, and I'm not one for the more hocus-pocus magic side of it, so the world is always overflowing with omens and signs. It's a matter of picking the ones that work for you. But I do think that sometimes the universe speaks. There were a few hiccups as the day went on. I was in charge of bride wrangling to keep Megan from trying to micromanage everything as Angie got the decorations and everything else set up and organized. Thankfully, her makeup and her hair took a good chunk of the time, and I was able to manage some of the bumps. A lot of the guests had or were in a household with COVID, and thusly quarantined. It included the guest who was going to be the bartender, but that was quickly sorted, and another barman found. Jason also informed me of how utterly done he was. He had tried talking to Megan while I was practicing about the night before, and how she had acted, and there wasn't the barest hint of shame. Not a tear, not even a shy look. She only got angry and snapped, "We worked that out!" and then cut off the conversation. Yeah, I see this being a real fucking healthy relationship. This won't end terribly or anything. The two shining lights of the whole day were my friends Kathy and Miranda. Kathy is a stylist and was doing my hair and makeup. Miranda's partner was the DJ and MC, and she was going along to help. Miranda also made my stunt dress for the fight performance because there was no way I was going to be fighting in $200 worth of silk and ruining it in the process, so Miranda made me a copy of the silk one, but in durable cotton, stuff that was only like $2 a yard. And if Megan was going to have a fit about it before the fight, I was going to stick my hand out and say, then pay me $300 right now, because that's how much the dress costs, and it's going to be ruined if I fight in it. Fair enough, actually. Yeah. Thankfully, no such problem happened, which I was shocked by. The most egregious of tempers that happened with Megan was when we were all literally lined up to start the march down the aisle, that she noticed that the flower girl wasn't there. Poor flower girl had been having a fever for a few days before. Not COVID, thankfully. But just as she was feeling better the day before, the rest of her family came down with it. We didn't tell Megan about this for obvious reasons, till we absolutely had to. Oh boy. Megan went, "Well, what are we going to do then?" and looked frantically at the assembled guest. She really thought that we were going to pull a random child from the guests and give her the flower basket. Because we literally had her cornered, Angie was able to say, "We're going to make do. We have the ring bearer, and we are ready to go." And during the nearly hour-long ceremony in the full sun and 80-degree weather had me more than melting by the end. Oh my god, and you're wearing like a whole bunch of silk too, aren't you? Jesus, how are you not dead? But I spent most of it in a daze just trying to endure and not object. The weird mix of modern Christianity and neo-paganism also had my brain melting. Being a cynical witch and a history buff that actually studies the origin and original meaning behind these things, my eyes were about to roll out of my head. Yeah, I fucking bet. My consolation prize was just observing a few small things. They had an RSVP for 130 guests, but when I looked for the first time out of the guests, there were about 50. Some were due to COVID, others due to the fact that people like to do things on holiday weekends that are sometimes planned out a year in advance. But Megan had managed to alienate enough people through her antics and Facebook posts. She seriously underestimated how many people were put off by her Facebook rantings that swung between euphoric about finally getting married, to gloomy depression about something not going her way, to begging for some kind of help with something. If you saw my epilogue to the Queen of Foxes, you can get an idea what those posts were like. I do remember that. Macon also had a lot of crap planned at the reception. Besides the usual speeches and cake cutting and first dance, she had organized an anniversary dance for the couples to come up and dance the floor based on how long they've been together. A dollar dance where the guests pay $1 to have a dance with one of the brides. It was my job to collect the money, and it didn't add up to much because the time dinner was over and the dancing and all the other things started, most of the small group of guests were starting to leave. Because, surprise, not a lot of people wanted to stay up to 11 o'clock at night. Even so, I had a few more moments of consolation. They completely forgot about the dollar dance, so I kept the $23 that was donated. That's pretty funny. And Kathy and Miranda had not met each other before that day, and they clicked right away, with all three of us becoming fast friends and mutually bonding over this fuckery. I had also conquered the problem that had occurred a few weeks before, the Maid of Honor speech. I had to think of something nice to say about all this shit. So, with the pretentiousness of all the planning and the stuff that Megan had wanted, I decided to cop out in the most flamboyant way I could. I mentioned being a history buff and that I'm a nerd that reenacts and experiments with old methods of everyday life to figure out if it all worked in the 9th century. If I had a fancy piece of paper and a university funding, I'd be called an experimental archaeologist, but that's an argument for another day. Thusly, I had found a new agey enough blessing online, took out any mentions of gods. If you don't bother to go for gods, they don't come bothering you, and translated it all into Anglo-Saxon. I had a private laugh as I artfully changed some of the words and phrases around. For example, there was a line of, "May they be a slave to each other's sight," when translated became, "May they be a band-aid to each other's drama." Along with, "When they return to the haven of home," became, "When they return to the port that is out of hairs." It was originally going to be a haven of hares, but the last thing I wanted to do was wish them anything to do with fedency. I don't know if I said that right. I'm not very good at this. As the last thing that needed to be dragged into this nightmare was a baby. Oh, yeah. No, let's not do that. Megan has baby fever and is still wanting a child. I learned this from Felicity, which makes me think that that might be why Megan was so hard up about Aaron, is because she's planning on using him as a stud. My hand to God, may that never happen. Well, that does explain why he showed up with literally no money to someone else's wedding and started, getting all up on the bride. Ew. Just, bruh. Time and place. Seriously. Though my personal favorite was translating, "When anger burns bright and baleful words come forth to fire their suspicions," became, "When they're upset because baleful raccoons have hedged their fence." It makes no sense, but the baleful raccoons make me happy. Joanne made me a little pouch with a real raccoon face on it to commemorate it. I like it. As the night ran down, Angie and I started to clean up along with a few helpers. Just as we suspected, it was just us doing it because Megan and Felicity were too busy with their dancing. We had to be packed up and out of the venue by 11 p.m. And we had to clean up the place settings and decorations, scrape the plates, empty glasses, and pack it all away in boxes. Angie soldiered on through the night as best she could, but by 9 p.m. she was utterly spent and in so much pain. Again, with all of this, Angie is disabled from having a stroke and cancer 3 times before the age of 40. Yeah, holy fuck, dude. She had to go home. With Kathy and Miranda as my wingmen, I dove into the packing. We were almost done when Megan decided to get involved. Stuff was loaded into the back of the truck, ready to go back to the cabin for Megan and Felicity to figure out, because I was not about to stay any longer than I need to. I didn't even change out of my dress as I got all this done. The 3 of us were cleaning up the bridal suite, where everyone had gotten ready when Megan came in. I told her that their stuff was packed up in the box in front of her, and that everything else was in the bed of the truck, about to be driven over to the cabin so they could unload it for the night, and go from there. Instantly, Megan adopted this look of stranded fish, eyes going wide, mouth making that puckered O. She gasped, "I don't have room in my car for all that. I don't have a truck. There's no way I can get all that back in one trip. I don't even have a truck." Oh, God, here we go. I knew what she was trying to do. She was trying to look overwhelmed and in that tight spot that she had no idea about and was panicked over, like she hadn't seen the amount of shit stacked up in Angie's sewing room for the last few days and weeks as things were gathered for this wedding, and it was all her stuff in the end, so she was going to have to take it home. And she was hoping that by looking helpless, I would say that it was all right, I'd stay, and things could be packed in my truck so it could all be taken to their house in the morning. And if she believed that was happening, She must also believe that the sun is pushed around the sky by a goblin named Wilberforce. I told her that we would unpack it at the cabin for her, and she could figure out arrangements in the morning as I was going home. I mean, I only have a 2-year-old and a loving husband that I hadn't seen in 3 days through this whole nightmare. Why would I be eager to get home? She tried saying, well, the owner doesn't want things stored at the cabin. Well, that's a bit of bullshit, wasn't it? Angie and Jason were gone, and it was just me now. I told her that she'd better just figure it out, and it looked like she was going to be making multiple trips to and from tomorrow to get all the stuff sorted. Megan was blown away by this, as I'm sure she knew she was trying to weasel something out of me, and I wasn't going to give up, and there was no one left to rain fallout on, so I was free to be in the right. The smug mass of virtue, triumphant, can be almost as horrible as the face of wickedness revealed. Turns out there are at least 2 other people crashing there that night, and it all got packed into 3 cars that were remaining under the ever-watchful eye of Megan as she sat nearby and assured us that she would have helped with the packing, but she didn't know how. That made everyone pause for a moment, and she quickly added, "Don't know how in all of this," referring to her elaborate wedding gown as she was still wearing. Then, finally, it was all over, and I was on my way home. The nightmare is over. Bridges have been thoroughly burned. Angie and I are considerably closer than we were, and I am now just grateful for my own happy, uncomplicated marriage. The growing up that my husband and I both did before we even said I do. And last, but certainly not least, Moonhorse and the Celestial Herd that let me type this saga out and vent the frustrations. You have all been an essential element to this survival kit, and I have more than once, through all of this, thought, oh, I wonder what Moonhorse is going to think of this one. But if you'll excuse me, I have more moonshine to finish, and a few things left from the wedding that I am intent on burning as I finally get back to my life. Till next time, friends. Holy shit. That is amazing. Yeah, okay. Like I said in the last one, I was going to kind of not really get super heavy into an ending because, well, this is a 2-parter. But now that that's over, there's a lot. There's a lot to unpack with this one. And the biggest thing that I learned is, honestly, Prestigious Finger, you are 100% correct in burning bridges with Megan. Because, holy fucking shit, that is some extra level psycho. That is some pure fucking insanity. Straight up manipulation and bullshit from line 1 to the end. I cannot fucking believe someone like this. Just, really, dude. Really. There's so much to go over. This is how you treat the person you're literally marrying. Like, you know, there. And this is your relationship. This is how you're going to start it, by treating them like shit. I'm sure it'll last a long fucking time. I'm sure it'll be fucking great. Hopefully Felicity gets the fuck out of this. And, you know, never has to deal with that shit again, because holy fucking shit. Secondly, I get it, alright? You're poly, you want a kid. Okay, both of these things are fine. On the fucking wedding night, though, with someone else, who you're not even marrying, time and place, bruh. Time and place. This ain't it. That's pretty fucked. And you look like some kind of fucking weirdo when you do that. It's pretty damn evil, bro. That's all I'm saying. Maybe plan this out a little more in advance. Of course, same can be said about most of this fucking wedding. Planning something in advance might have actually fixed this shit. But, yeah, narcissist mentality, much like you were describing, definitely fits that too. There's a lot of just, I want this for me, and I want it to be done like this. Bruh. Reality is the thing that's fighting you. If you wanted all this shit done, you should have planned that out in advance. You should have talked to people and seen if it was possible. Okay? This isn't that. This is just you wanted to be treated fucking special, and when everybody didn't do your fucking special shit, you got pissed about it. And then we come to the fucking story about the club. Yeah, I didn't forget that part. Lord knows a lot of other people seem to not forget that either. Because holy fucking shit, your friend is in a car accident. You have no idea how they're doing. And even if it's not your friend, it's someone who matters to literally the most important person to you, the person you're marrying. And you don't want to leave the club because, oh, well, it's my night. motherfucker time and place, alright? Like, what kind of fucking psycho do you have to be to just be like, oh, well, their life doesn't matter. I'm at a strip club, so I need to be here. Like, fuck right off. I honestly thought when that was what happened, that would have been the cue that this is over. This wedding's, no, fuck it, it's over. Color's clear, we're done. But the fact that it somehow went through is just amazing to me. Now, I'm willing to bet that you, Prestigious Finger, and all of the friends that you've mentioned are, I don't want to say there's probably a betting pool for how long till these two split up, but, I'm just going to imply it heavily, and you can tell me yes or no, okay? Holy fucking shit, though. What a story. What a wild-ass story. I don't even know what else to add. I feel like we've been on a fucking roller coaster, and we weren't even the ones that were there. Imagine what it was like actually being in the room for that shit. Fuck, dude. Whew. Either way, this is going to be the end of this video. So, thank you all for watching. If you did enjoy it, make sure you do the YouTube thing with the liking and all that crap. I'm not happy with YouTube right now, so fuck them. But, if you're happy with me, and I certainly hope you are, I have a Ko-Fi that you can donate to, and I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Helps keep the lights on in here. And we have a merch store full of all kinds of weird shit. You should check that out. It's pretty fun. In fact, it might be the best merch store on the internet. Might be. Not 100% on that, but I think I could be right. If you would like to join us doing this kind of stuff live, I record, well, this video right now, live in front of a bunch of people. Every Monday night I've started doing recordings like this that are actually live. You can come hang out with me and hear this shit straight out. I fuck up a lot, and this is before the editing. So, also, hi chat. How's it going? If you're watching this in the video, you can't see chat. Seriously, stop looking for him. That's weird. And on the weekends, we do live streams of games and other random internet things. You could be a part of that. That's also a lot of fun. But, with all that being said, I will see you in the next video. Seriously, check out the links under this in every video. I was supposed to say that earlier, and then I forgot, and I said it now. Yep. I'm really good at this YouTube thing. I'm not very good at the YouTube thing. I'll see you on the next video. I love you all. Goodbye!